Hello. Hello everyone, MVL here, and today we have a special pickups video. Not just because it's a live stream, but also because this pickups video is going to be about Doctor Who videos. So I was very fortunate recently. Hey Clifford, how you doing buddy? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. Straight through the door, or the time portal, if you will. We're going to check out some video game... Sorry, Force of Habit, not video game. We're going to check out some videos. You doing good, Clifford? That's good to hear, my friend. Glad you're doing well. Hey, Trainer, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. Yes, so I misspoke just then, out of habit. Yes, this is going to be an unusual pickups video because it is going to be about Doctor Who videos. Now, I was very fortunate enough to get a bunch of Doctor Who videos and DVDs, bunch of which I do not have, and some of which I may have, but are definitely condition upgrades from ones I already have. A relative of mine was getting rid of all of those, maybe because they're on BritBox these days. You can see online viewings of these. These are almost entirely classic, what they refer to as classic, the old Doctor Who, which is what I collect. And a relative of mine said, are you interested in these? Because I'm pretty much just getting rid of them. And I was like, oh heck yes, I'm interested in these. So I've got, in this video, I'm going to show about 50 plus, I think around about 70, I haven't actually counted, Doctor Who VHS tapes and DVDs that I've just added to my collection. I got them all for free, so I'm very happy about that. Appreciate you dropping by, Trainer, as well, and Clifford. And yes, we're just going to get started now. I put them in order, so we're going to start with VHS tapes. I'm going to start with the first Doctor, moving up to the more modern stuff, and then we'll have a look at special editions and steelbooks, and then we'll have a look at some DVDs as well. I actually don't have a lot of Doctor Who DVDs of the more modern media, so we'll have a look at some of those, and then a couple of special editions from that as well. So, first of all, videotapes. First one I have here is the William Hartnell years, and this is presented by Sylvester Mccoy. Now, I actually did a film with Sylvester Mccoy a long while back for myself, and so yeah, I was in a film with him. He's a great dude, and First Doctor is where it begun, and this tape is very cool because this includes a bunch of what was formerly unreleased content on it, which includes what they refer to as the pilot for An Unearthly Child, which was the first episode of Doctor Who. Now, pilot is a nice way of saying it because there weren't actually pilots around that time for the BBC. They filmed, no, for those that don't know, they filmed the first episode of Doctor Who with the character of the Doctor being a very harsh and a very uninviting character. And that didn't really portray the character as intended, so they reshot it and made the character a lot more forgiving, a lot more kind-hearted, and a little bit more mystique to the character, a little bit more enigmatic, and that's the version of Unearthly Child that you may have known. But yeah, this has the original version of it from 1963, which was untransmitted, so that was the version that you hadn't seen at home. And this also includes a bunch of parts of episodes from episodes that were lost, because for those that don't know, a lot of the original, especially the black and white, from the first Doctor and the second Doctor episodes were destroyed by the BBC as they were getting rid of old footage, because at the time there wasn't home media, there wasn't things like video or DVD, so they didn't have a way of reusing this content, and they didn't have that much interest in rebroadcasting it. So a lot of old tapes got destroyed, so you have a couple of episodes here, a couple of parts of missing stories, I should say. So there's episode 3 of the Crusade here, and then there's the final episode of the Celestial Toymaker. So these were from 1965-1966, and they're all that remain of those episodes. Now, I know that some episodes have been found in the meantime since this videotape was made, and some episodes have been animated since, which is very cool. I'm very glad that we're getting some animated episodes. I think the funding for the animated episodes was coming from BBC America, and I think they've withdrawn their funding, so I think we're not going to get any more animated episodes of missing episodes, unfortunately. But all of the audio for the missing episodes and some still images remain. The audio was largely done by fans at home using their own audio equipment, and a lot of still images were promotional images and things like that. So a lot of stuff does remain. It is possible to get these old episodes in some form, like the animated versions. But yeah, very cool. So we're starting off strong. First Doctor here. All right, with that, and I did not have that tape, so that was very cool. We have here another William Hartnell adventure. This is the Ark. Now, this is the more, I would say, modern Doctor Who look that they did. I want to say sort of after the movie. They changed the logo to look like this, and you got more sort of like photoshopped front covers versus the artwork you would get. VHS covers, you used to get a lot of good drawn artwork, like illustrations, and I've actually seen on social media some of the artwork that was proposed or sent off to be done. Some of it they didn't make it for these covers. I think it's a shame they started using these Photoshop style covers, because the drawn ones, you'll see a couple of those with they're identifiable mostly by having the older logo. This one's the newer logo at the time, and yeah, so this is just a Photoshop cover. The Ark, I don't think I remember much about this one, but yeah, you can see the monster on the front with the one eye. Pretty cool adventure here. Don't believe I had this one either on videotape, so I'm glad to pick that up. And yeah, another great one to add to the collection. Most of these I think I don't have. There were a couple that when I visited the person in particular that gave me these, I had my eye on at the time, and I actually, when I got these, I imagined that I was going to be receiving like 10 videos, but I didn't think it would be this much. We've got a fair few to get through, but that's a little bit of a an eye into those ones. This one here is a double pack. So I have a couple of these in my collection where there's more than one adventure on the release. So the serials themselves, like this is the Rescue and the Romans, two different adventures. They were made up of a number of episodes which were broadcast weekly. So there will be, let's say, a number of parts for each of these, which will make up one serial in its whole. Whereas I think the episodes now are, in the current Doctor Who, are more sort of like one series, and each episode is individual. So you can sort of see every episode in the classic Doctor Who as being its own little series, if you will, but conjoined the story all the way through. And yeah, pretty cool to get this. I'm not sure if I had this or not. This is a double video pack, as I mentioned, with two adventures in it. And like I said, these have these are illustrated, these covers, and you can tell that most of the time they have the old logo. This one is very dusty. A lot of these I think have been in storage. Like I mentioned, the person that gave them to me, I don't think really wanted them anymore because of things like BritBox, which has a lot of the episodes in HD available for online streaming. So I think that's why, but still very cool to pick this up with these two episodes in there. Couple of images from the back, and I suppose actually I should probably check if the tapes are in here. So there we go. And do you know what? Often I find that the internals of the insides here advertise some more videos, like you can see. So yeah, this does appear to have the videos inside of it. You know, I think some of the ones I had previously, I had the videos, but like I was missing some. I had the cases rather, but I was missing some of the videos. But these are in great shape. There's that. And the next one here, another William Hartnell adventure, as were those two. We have another modern case. So these came, again, I want to say at least after Sylvester McCoy, the last of the classic Doctors, and onto the movie timeline, I think is where this cover came in. And this is the War Machines, which is another adventure that I do remember having seen with the enemy of the robots here. Good one. Now, like I mentioned, there's been a bunch of these episodes of this Doctor, William Hartnell, released on DVD as of late. They have been animated ones, which is very cool. Very glad about that. I do love the inside of these as well. Very cool. I like the artwork on the inside. And these do all appear to be there as well. And recently they've been releasing Blu-rays now that Doctor Who has made the advent to Blu-ray with the classic series as they've been releasing them in, I think, mostly between years. So all of the serials or episodes in between these years is how they've been releasing them as of late, where that'll save you a lot of space, definitely. But I do know that, at least in America, some of the DVDs are very sought after. Alright, we're on to the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. And this is the Troughton years, presented by the third Doctor, John Pertwee. Now, I had meant to go to a convention a long time back that John Pertwee was going to attend. This was around about the time of the movie, and unfortunately I didn't get to see him there. And but I have seen some of the other Doctors. I've seen Tom Baker. Like I mentioned, I did a film with Sylvester Mccoy, which was a experience. I know I didn't actually share the stage with Sylvester McCoy, but I did on a scene with Rick Mayall, actually, who you might know from Bottom, which was very fun. So yeah, this is another collection of parts of episodes here, presented by the third Doctor, which is very cool. So for the most part, this is episodes that were not completed, or episodes of serials that were not complete. So you have the Abominable Snowman here, episode 2 from 1967. The Enemy of the World, episode 3 from 1968. Now, the Enemy of the World actually has recently been found. We have, I think, the complete one of that was released on DVD. I picked that up. It's really awesome. So there's that. You can actually watch the whole one. It's been found. A copy of the original broadcast. You know, some of them were found after the fact. Some of them may never be. Some of them might be in the hands of private collectors that were shipped out to be broadcast in other locations. And I remember hearing that Tomb of the Cybermen, which is one of my favourite Patrick Troughton episodes, was actually found in a cupboard in the BBC offices. Just there was a spare one in a cupboard. That's where they found it when they were moving. Pretty funny. Got Space Pirates here, episode 2. Plus there's excerpts from the Web of Fear, the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, and the 2 Doctors. So little kind of trailers there. Those are going way up in time. So you're going from like 1969 to 1985 there. So pretty cool. Yeah, this is very cool. This is another one I did not have. Did a whole bunch of these. And yeah, that's in there. Now, of course, with the nature of videotapes, you're not really sure how well these are actually going to play, because every time you play the tape, you stretch the tape reel and it gets a little bit worse, but it's still cool to have these. Alright, another of the second Doctor adventures here. We have the Dominators. I love this artwork here. Very cool. Patrick Troughton at his true to form here for another adventure. Like I mentioned, for the most part, with the old logo on the cover, you're most likely going to have a drawn cover versus a cover that has been done digitally. So I do like these artworks. They're very cool. I like to see hand-drawn or illustrated by some means cover art. You got a lot of that with fantasy films at the time on their posters, and these days you get mostly like Photoshop type deals. But I do like this. This is very cool. And I think on some of these you used to get postcards as well. So part of the reason I'm opening them up is to see. You can also see that the videotapes themselves, the labeling is different depending on which one. And very cool. And they'll have different BBC logos and what have you as you move on through the series. Another one with a very similar cover. This is The Mind Robber. This one's great. This one's really awesome. I remember watching this one. And yeah, very cool. I really like how the artwork there, it's most likely designed to look black and white, but there's like a little bit of colour on it to draw your eye. Very cool. And there's the back of that case as well. Very cool. And similar setup to the last one with the green label on this one. And the white inlay with the advertising on the other side. Hey there, Daniel. How you doing, buddy? Welcome. Used to see Doctor Who. I imagine, Daniel, you've probably seen the modern Doctor Who, because I think that made it over to America. But I think until recently, Doctor Who's been like more of a niche thing. But then since it came back after Christopher Eccleston, and then you had David Tennant and so forth, and now you've got Jodie Whittaker. It's been more in the mainstream, and yeah, it's like I think the new Doctor Who's great. For the most part, though, this is the old stuff, and actually like what they're doing with the new stuff as well. This is the War Games. Now, if I remember correctly, this is where Patrick Troughton transformed into John Pertwee. So this will be the transition from the second Doctor to the third Doctor. Great cover up there. There's a little bit of sticker residue on the front here. But this is episodes 1 to 5. This was a long serial, this one. And there's a look at the back there. So this was in 2 parts. I wonder if this was originally done like this, where it's 2 videos, or if they were contained within some sort of packaging. I do have some videos that were in packaging like that, like the Key to Time. I have like a special case for that as well. I had a special case for a Star Trek box set that was, I think it was an episode that crossed with, I think it was either Deep Space Nine, but it had the Spock character in it, and Leonard Nimoy, and it was really cool because like it was in this plastic packaging, and if you press down to take out the videotapes, you got like a materialization sound, which is very cool. Hey Claire, how you doing, my friend? Welcome, hope you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. Thanks for checking out the stream, my friends. So yeah, this one is where the Doctor regenerated for the second time, where it was more of a conventional thing, and likewise the inside here, green tape. I like the advertisements here because these are some of my favorite episodes on the insides here. Very good. I really like the Day of the Daleks. It's a very good one. And yeah, I mean we're gonna get to the John Pertwee ones here, but there's Death of the Daleks in here as well, which is very good, very good. All right, and the War Games Part 1 here. Interesting to note that I also have the War Games Part 2. Same cover, but different colorization, so you know that they're 2 different ones. This was episode 1 to 5, and this is episode 6 to 10. 10 episodes. Now, these aren't especially short episodes. This is a long serial. So, you think, like, pretty much, more than movie length we're looking at here when you add all of these episodes up together. But this was Patrick Troughton's last episode before the regeneration. He was in some of the multi-Doctor episodes, but this was his last proper episode. And after this, they moved to color as well. So they had color episodes after this. But yeah, very cool. So this is the episode 6 to 10 of the same serial. There's a price sticker on the back here, $19.99. I imagine that was from Woolworths, which doesn't exist anymore. There you go. Old VHS tapes, you feel your age, Daniel? Yeah, for sure. Right, there's this one, and this is correct as well. Some of my ones that I already have are not in the correct cases. So yeah, a lot of the other ones that I already have, like this next one actually, I think are upgrades to the ones that I have. I think this is a significant upgrade because I think my actual one of this is really bad. So this is a John Pertwee episode. This is not actually drawn. This is a still from the film, but this is Death to the Daleks, as I was talking about earlier, for seeing inside of the case. And yes, this one, I remember this one very well. And this is very cool. It's very cool to see this one. Now, this episode, I believe, had parts of it that had to be recolored. Or I might be thinking of another episode. As a matter of fact, I think I am thinking of another episode. Never mind. But some episodes, was another Dalek episode anyway that I am thinking of. If it is another episode. Some of John Pertwee's episodes were lost, but they maintained some black and white prints of them. But they were able to, because of these black and whites were copied from colour, they were able to figure out the colorization and get it back through means of a combination of using some software or means like that, and also from recoloring it themselves and combining those efforts. So that was pretty cool. This is a really good episode as well. Interestingly, this is a entirely white inlay with a black tape in there. I do prefer the insides of these when they have like advertisements to the other episodes in there. Find that a little bit more interesting. But yeah, this is a very cool episode. Enjoyed this one a lot. And in this episode, I remember that there's some sort of thing going on with the planet they're on that stops certain machinery from running. The Daleks still work for some reason, but their weapons don't. So they end up using conventional weapons rather than their traditional weaponry. And bows and arrows are used as well. Pretty cool. All right. We have another John Pertwee one here. This is the 30th anniversary in '93. So, take that. It's been a while since then. We're looking at nearly 20 years since the since the '93 30th anniversary, right? Anyway, this is Doctor Who and the Silurians with John Pertwee. This is the video double pack, and I think this might be 2 individual serials. And this is for the first time since 1970, full reconstructed color version. Right, there we go. So this was also color reconstructed. I did not know this episode was. Didn't know that. So this one was as well. And the Silurians are a somewhat... well, the Sea Devils are an aquatic race, but the Silurians are a sort of lizard-like species that inhabited Earth before the humans, akin to the dinosaurs, and they want the Earth back. So there you go. Very cool. This is very dusty. Very dusty. And yeah, it looks like Pertwee is riding his vehicle Bessie in this one as well. At this point in time, actually, for John Pertwee, they had grounded the Doctor in the sense that the TARDIS was prevented after the events of the War Games, where the Time Lords, the Doctor's race, forced him to regenerate because of the things he had done. They stranded him on Earth, so his TARDIS could not leave the Earth, and they wanted to make the Doctor more like a James Bond type character. So he was on Earth, and his Sherlock Holmes to Moriarty, his Moriarty opponent, if you will, was the Master, who showed up virtually, I believe, every episode. There you go. Rob Zombie has a big collection of tapes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And yeah, these are both in there. There's like a generic inlay here with like... There you go. Well, the good thing about these things is they're very hardy. So I think I might already have this one anyway. So this will be this would be an upgrade to what I already have. Normally they would have like where the back of the tape is actually, they would have like little things in here to hold these in place, like little pop-ups to hold these in place. Oh, Tomb of the Cybermen is advertised in there. That's one of my favorite ones. That was a Patrick Troughton one. Yeah. All right then. These are all really, really dusty, by the way. They're like, don't know if you can see that, but it is really, really needs a clean. I think they've been in storage. I just got my hands on them today, so I haven't had a chance. All right, we have Terror of the Ortons here. And this is the first time since 1971 full reconstructed. This is also reconstructed in color. That's pretty awesome. And this one, another 30th anniversary edition. This one features the Ortons, which are a race of living plastic. And they're under the command, you can see the Master here. He was in basically every one of John Pertwee's episodes. The Ortons in particular are well known for disguising as shop window dummies and then coming to life and then attacking. And this is a very cool episode. I remember this one very fondly. This one's even got a higher age rating. Inside this. This one also advertises Red Dwarf inside of that. A great sci-fi comedy. If you haven't heard of Red Dwarf, go back and check out Red Dwarf, the original series. It's very good. Kind of a Blade Runner-esque scenario for Red Dwarf, if you will. At least in the books it was. Alright, so here's one of the modern videos. I just put these, they're not in like serial order, they're in alphabetical order for the Doctor. So another third Doctor adventure here, we have the Ambassadors of Death. Modern logo here, so it's more of the Photoshop style cover. But still very cool. This one of course features the Brigadier here, who is from UNIT, which is an Earth force of defense against the things that come to Earth and have at it, coincidentally while the Doctor is there. And this was a another really interesting one. You can see Bessie on the back there is transport. His vehicle, which I believe he also brought into a tiny bit in the Fifth Doctor as well. I quite like this as well because the inside of this one, there's like a big synopsis there for the story. And there's also some advertisements for some other episodes. I like that. That's what I like seeing on the inlay, to have more information in there. There's also advertisements for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The BBC version of that originally was very good. Actually, this is advertising DVDs. So this is fairly modern. When I said these were modern covers, that is the case. So when was this out? This must have been late 90s, I imagine. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I actually was one of those people that still bought a lot of videos whilst DVDs were out. Videos had the option to rewind a lot easier than DVDs. Now I'm pretty good with DVDs because of their comparative longer longevity. That being said, DVDs don't last forever, but videos tend to wear out quicker, although they do have much nicer box art, which is... Case in point with this, we have the Curse of Pelodon. Another John Pertwee one. Lovely artwork there. 30th anniversary episode again. Very cool. And this one was really good. Got Alpha Centauri on the back there, which is the one-eyed alien, who they make a reference to in a much later episode. I think it might have been a Capaldi episode where they referenced that. But they showed it again in another Ice Warrior episode of the new series, that is. Very cool episode. There's the tape in there. Science fiction. You know, the BBC did not have a science fiction department when it first started making Doctor Who. Look at how dusty this is, by the way. It is extremely dusty. They did not have a science fiction department. They started it with Doctor Who. I think they ended up using the children's department, and they blew most of their budget on the set of the TARDIS, so they had to downplay their budget for the rest of the series, the original series, that is. Yeah, this episode's really good. I've always liked the Ice Warriors. In this one, they are actually not bad guys; they're good guys, kind of. So it is a very interesting one. The Ice Warriors, of course, were a nemesis for much of the time they were on. I remember in Patrick Troughton, the Seeds of Evil, I think it is, I'm thinking of. They play a pivotal role as bad guys. But it's nice to see them as good guys in this one. Next up we have The Demons. This one is very dirty. Starring John Pertwee. I love that artwork there. And this is another one, even though the inlay is misaligned. The first time since 1971 full color restoration. Okay, so yeah, I mean, oh, it says yeah, it's reconstructed full color. I was wondering if they just didn't have the color version until now, but yes, yeah, reconstructed. So there you go. They were able to get the. I like this on the back as well. They have a still shot, promotional shot of the monster from the end. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this one was very cool. And the tape is in there as well. The Demons. Very cool. See that one? Another John Pertwee one here as well. You know what? I feel like I might have misspoke on that last episode with the Ice Warriors in, and I actually meant this one. This one also has the Alpha Centaurian Ice Warriors in it. Another John Pertwee adventure. This is the Monster of Pelodon. Very, very good episode. And yeah, I remember this one because it starts with the TARDIS arriving at the edge of a cliffside and it falls down. So where do you go from there? You've already lost your transportation. Great episode here. Very cool. And there's the back of that one as well. And this is you know, it's going to be a big episode when it takes up 2 tapes, right? 2 tapes. You've got to look on the inside here as well. You can see there's some artwork on the inside, as well as the Vortex of Time. See what else is in here as well. Oh, an advertisement also available. The Curse of Pelodon. How about that? There you go. Please be kind. Rewind, Daniel. Yeah, you know what? I think that was in like video rental stores like Blockbuster. because people would return the videos and they weren't rewound. And to be fair, I think most of the time the rental stores never really checked the quality of the tapes. But I did buy a lot of my tapes from Blockbuster, but a local store to me was called Woolworths, which was a chain of stores. It was but local to my area, but it was a franchise that no longer exists. And I bought a lot of tapes from there as well. Man, this is another one I used to really love as well. This is a Centauron episode, The Time Warrior, with John Pertwee there as well. Very cool. Great artwork on this one, even though this is mostly pictures. They have done a little bit of artwork on the side here to accentuate it, so I do like this one a lot. And yes, man, I found the Centauron to be a very intimidating character in this episode as well. And this was great. I also like the medieval theme on this one as well. It's always good to see them go back to that period. And this is a black case with a green tape inside. I think one of the Daleks ones I have has the same type of case as this as well. That's very cool. This was a great episode. I think they also revealed the weakness that the Centauron has at the back of its neck, where it has a feeding tube, where if you damage that, you can hurt the Centauron. Alright, that's the last of the third Doctor. We're on to the fourth Doctor. Some more tapes here. We have, first of all, we have The Horror of Fang Rock. One of the more modern cases here. I think the companion to the Doctor here was known as Leela. And I think, if I remember rightly, on this episode or an episode like this, she wore contact lenses. And they made a bright flash. I think it was something to do with this lighthouse. They had a flash, and it changed her eye color to blue, and that was just because she didn't want to wear contacts anymore, or as a so that she didn't have to wear contacts anymore, I should say. So there's that. You can tell that this is like early Photoshop here, because you've just got the rendered mist on the background and pictures. It's okay, but I prefer the drawn artwork. And yeah, so this was a cool adventure. This had the there's the inside there. And this had the enemy of these Centaurans in it. The kind of like ghost-like enemies that were in this one. They had an appearance here. So that was cool. They can like move into different bodies. Next up we have here the Nightmare of Eden. Another one of the more modern ones. And another Tom Baker episode. Tom Baker, I would say there's probably more videos here for Tom Baker. Tom Baker is very renowned to be most of everyone's favourite Doctor. And the personality of the character was very endearing. So I think most people will probably lean on the side of Tom Baker is their favourite. Especially when you say which is your favourite of the classics. I think most people will probably say overall favourite. But if they're not aware of the old episodes, then maybe they might not be aware. There's the back of that one. The Nightmare of Eden. There's a tape inside of there as well, with Cybermen on the inside there. And there's some advertisements there for some books from Doctor Who. And other things like that, and other media. So that's pretty cool. Alright. Another Tom Baker episode here. We have Revenge of the Cybermen. Now, around this point, it was revealed that Cybermen had a weakness to gold, of all things. And it was something that could be used against them as one of their only weaknesses. I think they've downplayed that in the new Doctor Who, but I think they referenced it once. But yeah, so gold is one of the ways you can deal with Cybermen. There's the inside there with the tape. Revenge of the Cybermen, yeah. Checking the tapes are correct as well is always good. A lot more organized than my current collection is. This next one here is Robot. Now, unless I'm mistaken, this was the first Tom Baker episode. I think it is. I could be wrong. It's been a while. And I remember this episode had some green screen in it with the robot. and it was sort of new technology around about the time, at least for the BBC, and it was like really bad. But I think in later versions of like the DVD release, for example, and maybe the Blu-ray release, they might have cleaned that up a little bit. But yeah, the green screen on the robot, when it was only out in the field as well, so it's very bizarre. But that they used green screen, that the green screen was not very good. But other than that, great episode. Great episode. One of the first Tom Baker episodes. And if I remember correctly, the Brigadier kind of doesn't really get the whole regeneration thing, and he thinks the Doctor's just being a bit weird. So there's the back of that one, advertising some other videos in there, and that is the correct tape as well. Man, we're on a roll with these tapes. But this iteration of the Doctor was not out of missing episodes. And this here is Sharda. And Sharda was an episode that was partially completed, but never finished. So they filmed a lot of it, but so it says here previously unfinished. With the aid of Tom Baker's brilliant narration, it's on video at last. So one of the things I really, really love Tom Baker, and I've met him, and he's a lovely guy to meet. But I've seen that he was perhaps difficult on set from clips I have seen, where he can be a bit intense. And I know that he had a relationship with his at the time co-star, who played Romana, and that fractured, and they pretty much would not do anything outside of when they had to be on screen together. And I'm not sure if that influenced this episode's creation, but it couldn't have helped. So this episode never got finished. There was a lot of issues at the time with the cast. This one looks like it's been taped together a little bit. I kind of wish it wasn't, because it's easier to move these to another case than it is to do anything about it being taped. Like now I can't. But I don't believe I had this one. And yeah, so there's that. Now I do know that as of late, Big Finish have done a version of Sharda where I think they redid everything. So they, as opposed to the animated episodes where they animated the missing episodes, I think Sharda re-recorded all of the dialogue and what have you, and redid it from scratch. But largely because I don't think the effects were finished in the episode. But I have seen what is of this episode, and it looks like there's like some goodies in here as well. So we're not even on to special editions yet, but it looks like there's some extras in here. So we have a piece of foam for a start. There's a piece of foam, and then there's the chapters. That's handy. We have the video here, and there's also a book of some kind included. Let's take a look at that. Oh, you know what? This is kind of cool. Has a list of the Doctor and his adversaries on this side. That's kind of cool. So I don't know what this is. This is an inclusion, some kind of book. Maybe it's missing something, because this should probably be the Doctor Who logo. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. Instead of that, it has some extra postcards in there. So yes, that's what it should look like. There's a Sharda. I imagine this is perhaps a novelization or the script, because many of the episodes were novelized. There's the logo. And this is the original scripts. That's pretty cool. You got the script in here as well. Shall I mean, I've always wanted to play the Doctor. Should I say a line for the Doctor? Yeah, in a lot of episodes, Romana and the Doctor were split up as well to make it kind of easier. Square one. That's where we've got to go if we want to find out who Skarsgård is and what he's up to, where to find him. Ship, I order you to take us where Lord Skarsgård last came from. That was a terrible reading from me. Anyway, a couple of postcards here. I remember most of the videos used to come with these. So these might not be from this. They might be from other episodes. But most of them, I believe, came with these. So we've got this one here with those enemies there. Got another one here. So this one is from the two Doctors. There we go. Patrick Troughton and Patrick Troughton and Colin Baker there. And this one here is from that episode we previously looked at. Very cool. Very cool. So that was the Centauron. Alright. I'm not sure if I should take these out of here. They're not in the best condition. They're quite stained. But very, very cool. So these were from Slow Dazzle Worldwide. Okay. Set of 32, I believe. Alright, well, I'll have to look up if those actually came with this. I don't believe they did. So I'm going to take them out for now. I have some of those loose as well, and some of them I actually, unfortunately, lost. So there's that. But anyway, very cool to get that. And that is Sharda as well. Very cool to have the extras in there. The script is a nice addition. Alright. Next up we have The Android Invasion, also starring Tom Baker. And this one, I love the artwork on this as well. Yeah, for sure, Daniel. That sort of thing happens a lot. This one looks very good. Actually, you know what's weird about this? The pictures on the back are not the pictures of the episodes. Oh, was this one of the ones that wasn't finished either? Okay. So, I don't know why this doesn't have actual clips of it. I have a feeling like this one was also not finished. Maybe. I don't know. It's a weird choice to not have actual clips on the back. Maybe. There were some episodes that never got finished. I do remember something like that. But there's the inside of the case and the video. But no, don't remember this one well enough to be sure. All right, next one. So one of the more modern cases here, we have The Deadly Assassin. Now this one, I remember this story well because around about this time, the Master reappeared, and the Master appeared again as not a humanoid-like incarnation like other Time Lords were. The Doctor was recalled to Gallifrey at this point. He left his assistants or friends behind. He went to Gallifrey, and the Master had become this skeletal-like creature, hanging on to life by a thread. I remember he used to terrify me. He had a very, very creepy voice. Predictable as ever, Doctor. It was deeply creepy. And yeah, it was very cool. This one, there's like elements of murder mystery to it. The Doctor also goes into a virtual reality part and does a sort of wartime sequence. It's very cool. I like these cases actually, not so much for the front artwork, which is more sort of Photoshop. As you guys know, I prefer the illustrated. But I like these cases for the inside story. And the advertisements for DVDs are actually kind of funny. Do you know what I remember, actually? I remember that, not that this is very dusty. I remember that when DVDs were originally being advertised, they had like a quality comparison on like a video. You had like, let's say some videos had advertisements before the feature that you would normally fast forward through. They had like advertisements for DVDs as a quality upgrade, and they showed you like, this is what a video looks like, and this is what a DVD quality looks like, and they would show like a grainy video and like a good looking video comparison to that, which is nice and all, but I'm watching this on a video, so you're saying this looks better than this when I'm watching the same thing on my video, so it does look as good as you're saying on my video. So it's a very, very weird way. They try to tell you it had sharper picture and sharper video and all that stuff, which is true, because, you know, videotapes for the most part were 240 or 288 lines in the UK, and then DVDs would be like 480 or 576 lines in the UK, so it was, you know, double the resolution pretty much. Alright, another Tom Baker episode here. We have The Face of Evil, and this one they decided to just put his face on it. One of the more modern ones again, so there's that. This one might be one of the first ones we saw Leela in. The assistant there on the back, who I think was supposed to be like a cave woman, if you will. There's the case and the video, The Face of Evil. Yeah, there you go. That's correct. Next one we have here is The Invasion of Time. This is another one involving the Centaurans. One of the more modern ones as well, with the Photoshop style case. There's that. Now I don't remember having watched this one actually. I might have watched it and forgot about it, but I might have missed it. So this one seems to be set on Gallifrey with Centaurans, and I think I've only seen this one like maybe once and completely forgotten about it. So this is very cool. And this, of course, is a big one, part 1 and part 2 on the videos, with that kind of case that has the advertisement on one side, and then the advertisements for actually some special edition in the middle there. Pretty cool. And then most likely DVDs on this side as well. Let's check. Actually, it's advertising for books. I've been meaning to pick up some of the novelizations. Sometimes they did novelizations and changed the Doctor around, which is, well, almost dropped that. Sometimes they change the Doctor around, which makes a pretty difference. But I know Big Finish did that with the audios as well. And all right, another Tom Baker one we have here. This is the Leisure Hive. Love this artwork here. So this is actually drawn, even though it has the new logo, which is strange. So I would have expected them to use Photoshop on this one, but no, they used a illustrated image. Very cool. There's the back of that one. They have used this sort of Photoshop vortex effect on the back here. And there's a look at the inside there, an image of Leela and the Doctor there, Tom Baker Doctor. And on the other side, more of the Doctor in a leisurely pose, and the TARDIS in the background. Sweet. Alright, last of the Tom Baker ones that I have, and this is the Ribose Operation. Now, this was Romana before she regenerated. She regenerated very un-Time Lord-like at her own leisure, and it was pretty much just an actor change for whatever reason, and they changed it to the one I mentioned from the other episodes after the Key to Time series. This is part of the Key to Time. I actually have the Key to Time set in a like nice kind of like glass or clear plastic container altogether. So this one, it's got a sticker on it, and the sticker makes it sicker. But we shall have to see if this is actually an upgrade to my current condition or not. But very cool. This is part of the Key to Time series, a war between the Black Guardian and the White Guardian, I believe, who are trying to vie for control of this item. There's the inside of that one. Alright, and after that we will change Doctor. Now I know that there on the actual current series there's been quite the change of the Doctor, and it is pretty funny actually that, you know, just a small change makes a lot of people freak out. And I liken this to, I saw a joke about this with a Dalek watching a parody show called Dalek Who, and the Dalek they were watching was regenerating, and they regenerated from a silver Dalek into a gold Dalek, and the Dalek watching at home was freaking out going, Dalek Who's always been silver, this ruins the show. And it's like, you know, it's the same show, nothing's changed. But anyway, so here's a different Doctor here, and this is a Peter Davison episode, and this is Enlightenment, where there was a race between piratical-like ships in space. Very cool. And this is a drawn cover as well. I like that, an illustrated cover. And there's the back of that. But I think the thing is, when you have a fandom that's as large as it is and spans literal generations, they're going to find something to complain about regardless of how big or small it is. There's yeah, all of these have been exact actually, and despite the case itself being ludicrously dirty in cases like this, the videos look to be in great shape. So most of these should be better videos, as in tapes, than the ones I had previously. Alright, next one we have the Modern Undead. Now this one also featured the Black Guardian through Turlo, who's on this side, sorry, um, who was a new character they brought in. He was under the influence of the Black Guardian. And yeah, I remember this episode when I watched it back in the day. These guys with their like exposed brains used to scare me a fair bit. I was I was not a fan of that. So this was an interesting episode, despite the suitable for all ages recommendation. There's the tape there, and all of these have been correct, and the tapes have been in pretty good shape. Another Fifth Doctor one here. Peter Davison's The Awakening and Frontios. These are two different serials here. Nice drawn cover on the front here for the artwork. Now, I think the one of these episodes had the Maru in, which was like a snake entity, and the other one had some other monsters in. And yeah, I do believe I have this, but I don't know if I have it in this good condition. But it is sun faded on this side. Any one of these I have that are doubled, I will probably keep the other tape as a backup because they can easily break. There's both tapes in there, and these are the right tapes. You know what's funny about this? They say The Awakening and Frontios cassette 1 and cassette 2, as in video cassette, but it would have been better if they just put a serial on each tape, but I imagine it doesn't work out that way. There's the inside there with Peter Davison moving around. And Peter Davison as Cyberman there next to the TARDIS. I'm going to put the tapes the other way around because that's the way they should be. Yeah, normally there's like kind of like teeth to hold in the back of the tape here, like these parts here, but there doesn't appear to be any here. So these fall out pretty easily, as we saw earlier. All right. Move these things away a little bit from the side so I have room to put stuff there. All right, we have Time Flight here. There's that one there. This has one of those Photoshop style covers as well. Very interesting. And here's the back of that one. And we'll see how this one looks. I do like that these ones had a detailed synopsis or story for the episode in the inside. But I think I would have liked to have seen like more advertisements for videos on the back. But I like that they had the stories of them in there. Alright. Here we have our Time Lash. We've moved on to Colin Baker. Now, Colin Baker, I believe, when he came to transform into regenerate, I should say, into the next Doctor, which we'll get to, Sylvester McCoy, he actually refused to shoot the regeneration scene. So this is one of the least well received Doctors, and it's more so for the stories. Like the Doctor didn't act very Doctor-like. In fact, in one episode, I believe he pushes someone into a vat of acid, which that's not something the Doctor would do. He wouldn't straight out, murder someone, but he does it. So yeah, they made the Doctor act a little bit crazy, and I think the Doctor didn't have enough time. It's like with the new Doctors on the new series, they don't keep them around long enough to develop their character. So it's sort of the situation with Colin Baker. And there's that. I saw a Doctor Who music concert, classical music, and it had Peter Davison in it, and the whole time Peter Davison was pretending to ring up Colin Baker and say, "It's going quite well, Colin, we're not going to need you as a substitute." And it was like funny the first time, but he did it like every single break in music, and I was like, man, at a certain point you just you're sort of you're just sort of scolding or you're ripping on Colin Baker at this point. I was like, yeah, it's, the jokes run thin now. Stop making fun of Colin Baker. But they have a playful banter between themselves. There's the insert of that one. All right, another Colin Baker episode here. This one has a drawn cover, and I like that. This is the Twin Dilemma. Little known fact, I am actually an identical twin myself. So there you go. Not all twins look like the Bella twins from WWE. Some of them look like me. And there's that. There's the back of that one. And yeah, very, very weird monsters in this one. And this one's just got a white inlay as well, which is also kind of weird. The second one I've seen thus far, for those of you that care about the differences between them. Alright, this one I do have, actually. And this is Vengeance on Varos. And this one features Syl. And actually, recently I picked up a DVD that was made way past the 2000, which is a Syl standalone adventure, which I believe was made for a web series. And it's pretty crazy, right? Because I picked up a couple of DVDs for Doctor Who. I don't own that many. Some of which are the animated ones that were never released previously, that have been animated over. Like I mentioned previously, they'd had either missing episodes animated and added in, or they'd had the whole thing animated and using the original audio. And in some cases, they had both, where they had, if you wanted to watch the whole thing animated, you could, but then you could also have the original episode parts that still remained in as well. They made a film of Syl. It is Doctor Who adjacent, related, but it's not, I don't believe, officially BBC owned, because I think most of the monsters were owned by the writers themselves. So that's how they were able to make a Syl film. But yeah, around about the 2000s or thereafter, they made a Syl movie on DVD. How crazy is that? I discovered that recently and picked it up in a CEX shop. Very cheap. And that was pretty cool. So interesting to see that. And it was this character who was trying to work their way out of trouble. They'd been taken in, arrested, and they were trying to worm their way out of it. But yeah, so it was in 2 episodes of the previous Doctor Who, the classic Doctor Who, if you will. And yeah, there he is on this episode. So there he is. And I believe also he was like brown in one episode and green in another. So it's pretty strange. He kind of not very consistent. I think he was in maybe the last Peter Davison. So it's appropriate he was in the next Doctor as well. So there's that. There's a video for that one as well. All right. We've moved on to Sylvester Mccoy. I love this guy. I had a good chat with him when we were on set of a film together. Maybe largely because he had a broken leg at the time and he couldn't get away from me. But I remember actually having to try in my mind think of something that wasn't Doctor Who to talk to him about. So I was like, I've seen you in this play in Plymouth, and I couldn't even remember the name of the play. It was Arsenic and Lake. Arsenic and Lakes, rather. You know, it was a murder mystery, and I remember that vividly because his character had to light up a match and walk around in the dark in the play, and they used an actual match rather than any lighting and scenery trickery. And I remember that there was a bit of a botch, and the flame went out on his fingers, and he went, "Oh bugger!" And that was hilarious to me at the time. So yeah, I spoke to him a good amount of time, and I remember he informed me on the set of the film that we were on together that he had some new toys coming out at the time, which was very cool. But yeah, there's that. There's the battlefield, and there's the back of it. I also feel like Sylvester McCoy was definitely better than some of the stories he was in. I mean, limitation as well was, a lot of the point was production. They did the best with what they could. I'm not saying anything was bad, especially, but I'm saying, the props and often they were great, but sometimes it got a little bit silly looking. The Bertie Bassett monster, the Sweets monster is a prime example of when the monsters looked really silly. And admittedly, they were supposed to, but the stories kind of like maybe they lent on like celebrity inclusions and things like that, and they were competing at the time with things like Star Trek: The Next Generation, which when you look at the production values difference between them, it was almost night and day. So yeah, I feel like Sylvester McCoy definitely had definitely was very good. He was in the movie as well when he regenerated into the movie Doctor. and he was in a Anderson Dalek Killer, which was a comic book I had about a criminal which took to destroying Daleks, and he went to visit the Draconians and other races. It was very cool. I think I had that comic book when I went to Dapol, which used to do Doctor Who action figures. I used to visit Dapol virtually every year or so, and I remember just having a small amount of money to buy Doctor Who action figures. Dapol were famous for Doctor Who action figures. They did a TARDIS with the wrong number of... What the heck is going on with my camera? I'm transforming! Okay, that was weird. I was regenerating for a moment, perhaps. Dapol was famous for making Doctor Who figures. I loved them at the time, but they did things like they had a TARDIS with the wrong number of sides in the internal console and things like that. And they were mostly producers of toy train sets and toy train tracks. So that's the main thing. And they had the license for Doctor Who figures, and they had a Doctor Who exhibition over there as well. Now, I'd gone to other Doctor Who exhibitions like Longley as well, when they did them every now and then. But this was like an all year round type deal, similar to the Doctor Who experience they had until that eventually went away. But I used to go to this place every time I could, and just to get some Doctor Who figures. And I remember when Doctor Who had been gone for a long time, and there was rumours of it coming back, that the BBC took away the rights for the action figures from Dapol. And I remember thinking, that's weird. Why would they take away the rights for a dead show that nobody knows about and want to take those toy rights away? And that's when we sort of knew that they would only want those toy rights if they were going to make a new series. And lo and behold, not long after that, we got the Christopher Eccleston series, and they started making their own toys. So yeah, that was a thing. Anyway, we've got a couple of special videos here. This one is Daleks: The Early Years, introduced by Peter Davison. Very cool, very cool. I don't believe I have this one. This is in really bad shape, but at least it hasn't been sellotaped, so I will be able to switch this to another cover. Exterminate, exterminate, it says on the back here. Very cool. And introduced by Peter Davison. So we have a rare clip from The Power of the Daleks from episode 4, which is all that remains of Patrick Troughton's first encounter with the Daleks, unfortunately. And there is The Evil of the Daleks, episode 2, the only surviving episode of that adventure. And there's a snippet from the other episode here. No, there are actually... It's of the... there's a special Dalek outtake from the Five Doctors. And there is a pop record glimpse of Peter Cushing as the famous Time Lord in the cinema film Daleks Invasion of Earth, 2150 AD. So yeah, Hammer did 2 Doctor Who films before the film that most people know of. And they were unrelated to Doctor Who, the TV series, because the Doctor was a human in it, called who was just a doctor. And he made a time-travelling machine. So he was a human, he wasn't a Time Lord. There were 2 films that were made by Hammer, featuring Peter Cushing as the Doctor, and I liked them. I had the video, I don't know if I included it in the videotape, that is. I don't know if I included it in my collection video when I showed it previously, but there's that. Alright, and there's the inside of this one. Man, this one's fallen to pieces. Yeah, cool, very cool. So I like these actually. It's like a DVD extras on its own tape. Another one here with the other popular villains, the Cybermen. This one presented by Colin Baker, introduced by Colin Baker. Vintage villainy with the Doctor's evil adversaries. And this is another very cool one. The early years of the Cybermen. I like that. I like the colour on this one as well. And this has interviews with a number of people, including the actor of Zoe. And it has clips from the first appearances of Cybermen episode, from the 10th Planet episode 1, and the Tomb of the Cybermen and the Invasion. It also has 4 full episodes of the Moon Base episode 2 and 4, and the Wheel in Space episode 3 and 6. Now, if I remember correctly, the Wheel in Space was not finished. There was an episode of Doctor Who actually, which is a singular episode, as in not a whole serial long. It's like 1 episode long, so like 1 part, and it was in relation to the Daleks, and there was a group of individuals discussing the terror the Daleks had brought. It didn't actually feature the Doctor themselves, and I remember that has been animated, but the BBC have never used it because it was done as a showcase of that to the BBC. It hasn't been released, unfortunately. I think it might be on the internet, but I was hoping they would include it because it was made for them, but they decided not to use it because otherwise, this particular episode I'm talking about does not have any video to it remaining anymore. Anyway, there's some lost episode parts and things like that. Let's move on to some specials now. So these are special sets. I believe this is one I had my eye on for a while. I'm glad to have it now. And this is the Crusade and the Space Museum in the special set. This is a William Hartnell adventure. Very cool. And yeah, this is a big box right here. There's the back of it and all of the things contained therein. This limited edition collector's box. It includes the collector's postcards and a video, a collector's CD, and a Doctor Who keyring of the TARDIS as well. So the CD has the Crusade episodes 2 and 4 digitally remastered audio soundtrack. It also includes information on the history of the Crusade. And there's extras as well, 4 postcards with limited edition TARDIS keyring. Okay, so I don't believe this episode is complete, but it's still very cool to get this. And we'll open this up. Have a look inside. This is jammed full of extras. Jammed full. Got the CD there. Oh, my camera's going crazy again. What are you doing, camera? Stop it. Stop it. There we go. Okay. So there's that. So I did actually have some Doctor Who audio dramas. I remember there was Ghosts of End Space with the third Doctor that really scared me back in the day. Here's the video. Got the more modern cover on it, but that's okay. And this has the Crusade episodes 1 and 3 and the Space Museum on it. So 2 episodes of the Crusade and then the rest of that. And there's the inside, there's the tape. And there's the inside of that. It looks like the keyring is absent, but you know, I am getting these all for free. But the postcards are here, so there's that. Yeah, let's take a look at these. Alright, yeah, and that's everything in there. Whoa, my camera's going crazy. Have a look at these postcards then. These are in good shape as well. I think they've probably been in here the whole time. There's that one there. There's that one. There is that one as well. And finally, there is this one. Now, a lot of these pictures were either promotional pictures or telesnaps, which was a technology invented by a man who sold these images to the BBC and other places for like advertisements, so that they could use them in magazines and things like that. Because they didn't really, out the way, have a good time or a good way, sorry, of inexpensively making grabbing images from video like we do these days. So and that the images left actually. For a lot of these images were done. I think the BBC actually was offered the whole collection at one point and didn't take it, which is a shame because I think a lot of them might have gotten destroyed over time. But a lot of these images were used to do the animated episodes and reconstructions and things like that. Yeah, there's that. That was one I've had my eye on for a while. This one, very happy about that one. Here's another special edition right here, and this one is the Reign of Terror 40th anniversary from 2003. We're getting so close to modern times here. Featuring both the first and second Doctor right here. Very cool. Hey George, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, my friend. Got a bunch of Doctor Who videos right here. And yeah, this is quite the haul. Quite the haul. And this one, another special edition. This is number 2719 out of 8,000, it says right here. And on the inside of this, we have the videos. My camera's going crazy. I'm going to reset my camera real quick, see if that helps. I might freeze for just a moment, so I'll make an awkward pose. All right, we're back. Hopefully that fixed the camera. Right. So there's the first one there. We have the Faceless Ones and the Web of Fear. I think the Web of Fear has been released on DVD. Got into it with David Tennant, George. Hey, nice. Yeah, the older episodes actually are still very accessible from things like BritBox, so I think you can get the old episodes that way very easily. But for sure, there's that one. Because I used to watch these from the videos way back, but I do like the new ones as well for sure. So there's some clips on the back of that one as well. All right. So this has the Faceless Ones, episode 1 and episode 3. So this one was not complete. I think that some more of these episodes have been found recently, and the Web of Fear as well. All right, and this is complete in there as well. Very cool. It's kind of weird actually now I'm looking at it because like the inlay is like cut off. That's kind of strange. All right, so there's that. And you also have the Reign of Terror in here as well. These ones have been kept very good because they've been in this case. And this is another one with a kind of Photoshop style cover. I have seen this one actually. I like this one a lot as well. I think the Doctor gets separated from his companions in this one, if I remember correctly. There's the back of that one. And look at the back of the case. I think I've seen this one on DVD actually, so I never had this one on video. Again, it's kind of weird. It's like the cutaway there is a bit weird, but there's that. It's like they you know what I mean? Like there's half of a video there. It's like they added this bit on like after they'd already done the template. It's kind of weird. Unless there's like an extra piece of paper in there. I don't know really. Oh, you know what actually? Now that I'm looking at it, it actually looks like this folds around. So it looks like this folds out. Yeah, it does. Okay, okay. So actually the reason that is because this folds out like that. There you go. That explains that. That explains that. And easily done on this one because this is one of the more modern ones and it's in very good shape. How about that? Yeah, I'm glad you're doing well as well, George. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Okay, yeah, let's put that back in there. Yeah, so that was pretty cool actually. Pretty sweet. All right, I'll put these back in that case. Okay, and that's the Reign of Terror Special Edition. Very cool, very cool. All right. Next up, we have the second Doctor. Oh, second original Doctor, I should say. We have the Ice Warriors collection here. And this is very cool. It looks like it's got a lot of tape on it. Like it's been taped together. That's not the worst. I wish they'd just, let it rip and not put the tape on. Because I probably could have done a better job, but now it's kind of stuck on there. This includes the Missing Years, a video documentary about Doctor Who's missing episodes. It has a video, 2 videos, a special book in here, and a collector's CD as well. Very cool. This is the sort of stuff I was really interested in grabbing. So let's take a look at this. How do I open this? It's like flap. I think I just do the flap. Right. I imagine it probably broke on the flap on the back here. But yeah, kind of cool. They've got some artwork in there of the 2 Doctors. Yeah, that's really unwieldy. That's probably why it broke so much, because this is just cardboard. So you've got 2 videos and a book here. So there's that. The first one we have is the Ice Warriors. These are in the cardboard cases, actually. These were very common for videos, and they did not last very long. These are actually in pretty good shape. So there's that. I like how they colorize the clips on the back here. This was a black and white episode. They just colorized the clips on the back, but that's kind of cool. think it's yeah. This is in mostly good shape actually. So pretty good. There's actually there's a little bit dirty, but for the most part it's pretty good. And there's a tape. Considering, I think this should be the other way around. I think this should be this way around. All right, or maybe the other way around. I don't know. And here is the missing years. So this is like a bunch of missing excerpts. So I'm seeing some episodes here that I do remember that are incomplete. This one here, actually, the one of the episodes has like so many extras in it. It's probably never going to get animated because it's just inconceivable to do that. But there's that. The missing years. I think they are supposed to be this way around. Actually, they fit in like a little better that way. So let me put the other tape the other way around. All right. Okay. And then we have this book here, The History of Reptiles from the Red Planet. That's in the Ice Warriors. And this book is in relatively good shape. It looks like a couple of the pages are not so good, but for the most part, this seems alright. I don't want to risk like breaking it, but here it is. There's the inside. Pretty cool. Alright, so there's that. Now I'm gonna put that one aside because it's made of cardboard, so I'll put it carefully back together. Moving on to Tom Baker, we have the Espace Trilogy here. Now, Espace was its own collection. I think I have these episodes, but I don't think I have them in this box set like this. So that's very cool. With all of them together like this. Very nice. That's where the Doctor picked up Adric, who actually didn't make it in the future. Adric was a companion who enjoyed maths, so I wasn't awfully fond of his character. So yeah, there's a bunch of episodes here. Also where Romana was in these as well. We've got the State of Decay. There's that one. And there's the tape and the inside. We also have the Warrior's Gate, in no particular order, of course. And there's the back of that. And there's the inside. And also here is Full Circle. We've come full circle. Which has K9. There's K9, sorry, there. And there was a episode with Sarah Jane, who was the companion of the Doctor, who did a spin-off of K9, and I had this on tape, I think, but I don't know if I have it anymore. And it was set around Stonehenge, and it was its own little spin-off, and it's very cool. And it actually precedes. A lot of people think the Sarah Jane Adventures is like the first thing that their character did solo. This precedes that by quite a long way. It was, I think it was intended perhaps to be a series and was never picked up, but they did do an individual episode of it, so it's worth checking out. I think it's called K9 and Company, I think. But yeah, there's that. And so there's the back of that one. And there's the inside as well. Most of these ones look very similar, but cool to get this in this collection. There's that. And for the most part, it's in good shape. As good as you're going to get considering the age of these. Alright. This one looks very cool. This is the Five Doctors and the King of Demons. Five Doctors is one of my favourite episodes, even though there's not a lot of Tom Baker in it because he wasn't going to be involved in filming this one. They used actually for the Five Doctors, they actually used a clip from Sharda, which was unreleased, as his involvement, and they acted like he was involved in it, but he really wasn't. I think the character who was supposed to drag all of the Doctors from their individual timelines to one location had Tom Baker stuck in one place, so he just wasn't in it. They kind of misadvertised. It's actually, there's only 4 Doctors in the episode. They used a tiny bit of recycled footage for one of them. All right. Um, this looks like it has some extra thing in it as well. So we've got the 5 Doctors here, one of my favorite ones. Look at that cover as well. Great artwork. That looks fantastic. Everything you want to see. There's the back of that one. They recast the first Doctor in this one, I believe. Yes, because I don't think William Hartnell was in good enough health to do it. I think he appeared for a very small amount in the 2 Doctors, but he wasn't an active, like, moving around, because I don't believe he was able to at the time. But yeah, so he did appear, but they recast him. I never knew at the time, but yeah, this was not William Hartnell. There's that. I think they did anyway. I think. Could be wrong. There's that. And the inside of that one? I may have misspoke there. I'm definitely right about the 2 Doctors. Right, and here is the King's Demons. Wow, look at this cover. That's great. Look at that. That's like a heavy metal CD. It's fantastic. King's Demons sounds like a heavy metal band. There's the back of that one. And the inside of that. Okay, and what's this extra thing here? Limited edition postcard album. BBC video. Included here. It's got metal on it as well. Done pretty well considering. I'll have some steelbooks in a minute and they're quite rusted. Oh, nice. They're actually in here. And I think these might be the postcards that came with... Yes, these might be the postcards that came with the individual videos. Because if I remember correctly, every video came with its own postcard. Like, in the video. And I've lost most of them for mine. So this is very good. So there's that. There's the 5 Doctors. And the great thing about this is there's nothing written on the artwork other than the title. Warriors of the Deep. Sea Devils. Got Bessie there and the members of UNIT. Daleks there and Tom Baker and Davros, the creator of the Daleks. The Cybermen from Tomb of the Cybermen. And William Hartnell there in a colour picture. Patrick Troughton above. And the 3rd Doctor below with Joe Grant as his assistant. Tom Baker on the right. Sylvester McCoy with the Bertie Bassett licorice all sorts monster that I said looked ridiculous. I said it looked ridiculous. There it is. Image from 2 Doctors here. Oh, the 3 Doctors I meant, sorry, is the one where he was in but was unable to move around. William Hartnell, that is. The 3 Doctors, not the 2 Doctors. 2 Doctors was these 2. I misspoke. The 3 Doctors. Anyway, there's that. And yeah, 3rd Doctor there. That's the image, yeah. Yes, so I believe that he was not in the best of health for the 3 Doctors. And I don't believe he was in the 5 Doctors in person, that is. Image of Tom Baker. I could be wrong, though. There's a title at the end. This is probably the coolest extra I've seen thus far. I'm not sure if these postcards were from this actual set or if this came empty, but still very cool. Very cool. I might put the other postcards with this. They won't fit in there, but I might put them with it. I mean, to be fair, this barely fits in here. Alright, so we now have the last of the videos, and that'll be a couple of steelbooks, and then we'll be moving on to DVD sets. So, the DVDs, I don't have a lot of DVDs. I think I maybe have 1 or 2 of these DVDs, but the rest of them are all new to me. So that's very cool. Admittedly, take up a lot of space compared to the big sets, but very cool. So we've got a lot of cool stuff to show. But first of all, these steelbooks. Right, we have a very rusted. We have a very rusted The Daleks box set here. Extremely rusted. And this is the limited edition box set. From the Daleks Invasion of Earth here. From the front. Sides and the back are better. It must have been facing out this way. Hey, Be Right, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Appreciate you dropping by. Yeah, it must have been facing out this way, because this side, this side is entirely rusted. Whereas this side isn't. Shame. Shame, but that's what you get. How you doing, Be Right? Welcome, my friend. Alright then. Let's open this up and see what's in here. So you got the videos in here as well, which are in the plastic wrapper, and a book of sorts as well, so check these out. Oh, nice. It's one of my favourite episodes that's in here, actually, as well. There's a lot of dust. Couple of other things in here as well we'll have a look at. As well as a very beat up item. Right. So, in this very peculiar plastic packaging, very peculiar, we have 2 episodes. Oh man, these are both episodes I really love, actually. Sweet. And these are definite condition upgrades from the ones I have. Hey, appreciate it, my friend. For the raid. Hey, thanks for the raid, my friend. Be Right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Hey, if you guys are seeing this for the first time and you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out. I do other things as well as show off Doctor Who videos. I play video games as well. So appreciate it, my friends, and thank you so much for the raid. That is awesome. Thank you, Be Right. And yeah, thanks for checking it out. I've been just got handed basically a bunch of Doctor Who VHS tapes and some DVDs, which we're about to see. And they are pretty new to me. So I'm going to be going over them here. And it's been very exciting. And I've got some cool stuff to show. These are in great shape, actually. Actually, I didn't notice this before, but the front of this peculiar thing has the Doctor Who logo imprinted on it. You probably can't see it, but it has it on it. So this is the chase. On this one, the Daleks are pursuing the Doctor through time. They've built their own time machine. This is in really good shape. Like, my copy of this is so bad shape. This is very impressive. They also, I believe, go to a horror planet at one point, where it's very crazy, and they meet like a version of Dracula and Frankenstein's monster as well. So there's that as well. Yeah, thank you guys for the raid as well. I have no alerts set up for this sort of thing, unfortunately, on the Twitch side. But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that raid, Be Right. You're awesome, and thanks to those that came along with that as well. You guys rock. Don't forget to follow if you're over on Twitch as well. I do other stuff as well. You're good, Be Right. It's good to have my friend. Yeah, my bot, which covers all of the restream gimmick, which is streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, doesn't notify me of raids, unfortunately, on the Twitch side. So yeah, apologies for that, my friends. But thank you guys so much, and thanks for checking out the stream. And yeah, this is one of my favourite episodes. It's William Hartnell, First Doctor. Black and white, but great episode. Great episode. Says that. And another one from each generation of the classic, so like the start and the end of it. We have Remembrance of the Daleks here with Sylvester McCoy, who I was in a film with, and in this episode he meets Davros in a very weird space, and you have two factions of Daleks warring against each other. And this also features Ace as the companion. Ace was in a bunch of other media as well. Pretty cool. Who? Doctor Who. That's who. You ever heard the pop song? There was a pop song. Doctor Who is on our list. There's there's that. Might be more obvious now. There's the Doctor Who logo on this. This is very strange packaging. I'm seeing now that it fastens. That's why. Where they turn a person into a Dalek, be right? They actually do something like that in a lot of episodes, but I think what you're probably referring to is the more modern Doctor Who. I think it was a David Tennant episode where they made this gangster into a Dalek, and that was the Dalek Paradigm. And yeah, I think it was an old episode. Yeah, so they did it in old episodes as well. They did it in, I think, a Sylvester McCoy episode. They had a guy like in this weird like glass container, and like he was getting turned into a Dalek, and it was actually pretty scary for the time. Because I remember he like started to sort of metamorphosize, and also his opinion in his head started changing. So he started going from like being quite alarmed to being like, I will exterminate you, and it was pretty cool. A couple of extras here as well. We've got the BBC Video and BBC Radio collector catalogue. This is kind of cool. So this is essentially all of the videos and all of that sort of stuff that was out at the time that you could grab. That's cool. That's a good addition to have. And we have the Daleks, a history from BBC Video here as well in this edition. And man, this is very cool. So remember when I said Romana self-regenerated? This was one of the Romana forms right there. She turned into a really tall lady for like a second, and the Doctor remarked that it was too tall. Got an episode of this clip here is from that episode I just showed with Sylvester McCoy, the Daleks Fight. There was a special weapon Dalek, and it blew up another Dalek. Very cool. Oh, and we have the Daleks' enemies here, the androids. So those were a thing that existed as well. Very cool. You know, on the episode here where the Daleks war against each other, they had a lot of problems with the battle sequences, with the special effects. They pretty much only had they used practical blast effects, and they only had enough effects to do it maybe once or twice, and they kind of screwed up with it. And the crew had to come out onto the stage to kind of reduce the fire. It's a shame because this is a cool packaging, but it's kind of broken. To fix it, but the director was like, "You blew the one shot." He was really mad. So you have a lot of difficulties with these sort of things in the old video production side. Is this going to stay together? Probably not, but we'll see. So there's that. Very weird packaging. Kind of cool, but it's probably not going to hold up. And that was from this collector's tin that I just got, even though it's very, very, very beat up. Let's put these on their side, actually, to stop them falling down. Let's do that. Alright. Yeah, okay. There's that. Very cool there. Very cool. I wish this wasn't so rusted, but, you can't always get what you want. Next up, we have another Dalek one. And this is the limited edition Planet of the Daleks and Revelation of the Dalek set. I don't remember if I had this. I don't think I do have this. I like the outside with the Dalek bumps on either side and the top. I think the back side of this is actually upside down. So I'll take the top off, and I will remember to turn that around. But yeah, we have Planet of the Daleks here. This is a John Pertwee episode, Third Doctor episode. Man, I remember that this has been remastered on DVD as of late. And there's some glorious stealth sequence here where Joe Grant just walks straight past the Dalek. We're sneaking by it. No, I'm thinking of a different episode. Never mind me. I'm thinking of a different episode. This is one where they push these Daleks into like this kind of like swampy mess. I think the Daleks also get like attacked by some weird like tentacle creature as well. There's that. And as we now know, these inserts actually come around and pull out, so that's kind of cool. At least I think they do. Maybe this, yeah, this one does as well. So all of these inserts pull out and fold out, kind of cool. And here's the Colin Baker one, where the revelation of Daleks. I think this is one where the human transforms into a Dalek unwillingly. Hey, Jonan, what's up, buddy? Jellybean, Bowtie. Those are all Doctor Who things. Bowtie was one of the later Doctors, and the Jellybean was Tom Baker. So there's that. And there's this one on the inside of that as well. There you go. All right. So this was actually, I think this was the wrong way up. Yes. So this should be this way around. There you go. So that's that steelbook. How you doing, Jonan? Welcome. All right, steelbooks. And this one is another limited edition with the Master. I think I might have this one. I appreciate you dropping by, Jonan. This one is also upside down, but there's that. It's very rusted on the top. And this one includes Colony in Space, another John Pertwee episode. And there's that. With the Master in. Like I said, the Master was in a lot of Doctor Who episodes at this time. I think this one might have an episode in black and white. I'm not sure. Maybe. Some of this situation did. And there's the inside of that one as well. And here's the Time Monster. Front and back of that one. There might have just been a art style for the case, actually. And there's the inside of that one. Very impressed that it's all in there. And all the tapes themselves look to me in fairly good shape. So there's that. Alright. Let's get these back in there. Probably can't hear the tins clacking around with the noise filter I've got on the microphone. Alright, that's all of the videotapes. It only took us an hour and a half, but I have DVDs as well. Fair few DVDs actually, and I don't have like hardly any Doctor Who DVDs on, modern media, but I do have DVD players, of course, like PlayStation 2 and what have you, so I can watch these. So I'm very excited about this because they're a little more hardy these days, that is, than videos, because videos don't last, as long as you keep playing them. So going from the first Doctor and onwards, yeah, Bowtie was a Matt Smith thing, if I remember. I actually did used to rock bow ties for a little while as well, myself. And this is the Aztecs. One of the original episodes from the black and white. I like that they put the years in this, the 1963 to 1966. And there's that on the back. I think the back side of the DVDs is a little less impressive, but it's still cool. There's the inside of that. Basically, when it comes to DVDs here, I'm only basically going to be checking if they're in there. Another William Hartnell here. We have the Web Planet. Now, there's such a broad reach on this for a sci-fi of its time period. And they went through a lot of difficulties. It wasn't just, the people working on it were under a lot of conditions because of who they were. Was one problem. It also because of the type of show they were doing. But if you watch this episode, they really do try and go for the moon. Essentially, they really try and go for it. They wanted to make as grand a story as they possibly could, with like tinfoil and whatever they had available to them. So yeah. Yeah, exactly, Jonah. And backside of covers and DVD games, that sort of thing. It's a lost art. Like the VHSs had a little bit of artwork from these because these are all like Photoshop style. These do have, at least they have the same house style, all the DVDs, I guess, with the kind of inside of the TARDIS aesthetics. But yeah, like the monsters do look a little silly, but they really were going for what they had. So there's that. Oh, this one's not silver DVD actually, so already the house style is changing a bit. Some of these are reversible as well, so some of these are like full art versus the regular house style of well. So I remember that episode. There's a moment where one of the insects like unfurls her wings, and it's like it's a grand moment, but visually they're doing what they can, but the story is really good, but they're doing what they can with the props and that. You look back at it with what they can do with like effects these days. Granted, I'm not a fan of digital effects, but if they had more, they could have done more with it. We've got Lost in Time here again. This is some of the missing episodes, parts of them anyway, from the first and second Doctor on this DVD. So these were incomplete, at least nowadays incomplete, because of the fact that the BBC destroyed the remaining copies. And there you have it. Looks like a 4 disc set actually. Maybe 4 discs on this set, perhaps. 3 disc set. There we go. Lower your expectations slightly. And there's a couple of inserts here for Doctor Who stuff, Doctor Who related stuff. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think we're gonna go faster through the DVDs for sure because there's less like going on with them. But these will probably be the way I watch most of these. We've got the invasion here. Man, this is really awesome because this is one of the episodes that was missing parts of it and has been animated. So they've animated the episodes that were missing. Unfortunately, that's not going to be a thing going forward because BBC America withdrew its funding. But man, I actually already have this one. So this is actually a surplus copy because I think my other copy is in better shape. Although this is a 2 disc set, I'm not sure my other one is a 2 disc set. So I think this is the only one I actually won't get any use out of. Which is a shame, because I'm almost certain I have this one. And this is a very good episode as well. The animation doesn't seem that out of place. The only thing they do, which you can see some of the animated clips on the top actually, if I show it in a little closer. Although my camera's been doing whatever it wants as of late. In regard to focus and going crazy. It's crackling up. Regeneration is what my camera needs. Yeah. Heard about this? Yeah, it is cool that they actually got the missing footage. Um, you know what? I'm actually almost certain that my one isn't 2 discs. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm not certain, but I'll have to see if I have a 1 disc version. Because they did do different versions of these. But yes, very cool that they did these. I wish they did it for every episode, but you can't have everything you want, unfortunately. But it is very cool. The animation doesn't look out of place. The only thing that does look out of place, and they did this when they've actually reanimated episodes I've already done before, with slightly better animation, or different animation, I should say. The only thing I will say is that they've changed the house style a lot, the art style. Like, recently they've been doing 3D animation to look like 2D animation, where they started with 2D animation. I wish they'd just used the same people for everything, even if it did look a bit like, Archer with Doctor Who, the Archer TV show with Doctor Who characters. I would have preferred they had the same art style for every episode. It jumps art direction for every single episode, whereas if it all looked the same, I'll be happy about it. Plus, they also have a tendency to make the animation widescreen, where the original episodes were standard definition, so 4:3. So you're constantly, because the old episodes have been put on the DVD as just stretched, so that they're assuming that you've used the aspect on your television to change it to 4:3. You're constantly grabbing your remote and changing the aspect ratio on your remote between the animated and the real episodes. They've recently done it so that the whole episode is animated, and I think they actually intend you to watch the whole thing animated, but I try and watch the parts that do remain of the original footage wherever possible. So yeah, that's that. One of my favorites here, we have the Seeds of Death. It's an Ice Warrior 1 with Patrick Troughton. I think I have this, but I think I have a different edition of this. I could be wrong. So there's that. And I remember actually the kind of the residue that the Ice Warriors leave that destroys people is sort of it's sort of like it looks like bubble bath. There's people like drowning in bubble bath. It looks a bit funny. Here's the Tomb of the Cybermen, my favorite Doctor Who episode for the Cybermen. That is, there are things that are very, you know, can be seen a certain way about it, but I like the Cybermen in this episode, and it's because I had a special edition VHS tape of it, and I just used to watch it a lot, so I'm very very into this episode. And there's that. I remember the special edition videotape started off with someone talking in front of a Cyberman head and saying that they had managed to find the missing episode, which is very cool. On to the third Doctor here, the Carnival of Monsters. In this one, a lot of monsters have been digitized, shrunk like Pokemon, down into a little machine full of pocket monsters, and it's like a zoo, but the Doctor finds his way into the zoo of monsters, if you will, the Carnival of Monsters, and yeah, things happen. There's that one. I remember the aliens behind the Carnival of Monsters had a very peculiar way of speaking. They would say, "One is not sure about this," and they would speak in that sort of tense a lot. That was their gimmick. Inferno here, another John Pertwee episode. This is one where the Doctor found himself in another dimension. Now, actually, he refused to take the people from this dimension back to his dimension when a catastrophic event happened that caused the destruction of this dimension. But in the later Doctor Who's, he does that a lot. He takes people back, from one dimension from another, which is supposed to be impossible. In this episode, he was claiming it would destroy the fabric of the universe, but evidently he was lying. Or they just decide things as they go. 2-disc edition here, kind of cool. Bit heads from space here, with the Ortons, the plastic aliens. There's that one. Yeah, so a lot of these have like the generic silver disc, but some of them have a different disc depending on what version it is. The Claws of Axis here. Now, I remember the monsters in this appeared as beautiful gold humanoids, but were actually kind of like weird, like flesh-like tendril creatures that you see in the background there. They're very scary. They sort of metamorphosized between one and another. See, there's what they look like above normally. They look like kind of like beautiful gold humans, but then they changed as well. I've been thinking about using that gimmick for D&D at some point. And maybe in a one shot. Alright. We need to give Rose Tyler a happy ending, yeah, but it should have happened. That was the David Tennant era, where they switched through dimensions, I think it was, which was supposed to be impossible. Here's the Green Death. This one was one I remember a lot as well. I think there's a special edition of this, and they've actually cleaned this up quality-wise a lot on the recent versions of it. So like the Blu-ray version of this, I think is a lot better than the DVD version. I could be wrong, but I think they've cleaned this one up a lot. And this is another silver disc in there. I think the discs with artwork are a little bit nicer. We've got the Three Doctors here, which I misspoke about previously. It has William Hartnell in it, and of course Patrick Troughton, but William Hartnell was not very well when he did this, so he couldn't do much other than appear in a bubble, so to speak. But he had more involvement than Tom Baker did in the Five Doctors. So there's that one. I remember he referred to the other Doctors as a dandy and a clown, clown being the second Doctor and the dandy being the third Doctor, which is sort of the intent of him. There's that. And here we have the City of Death. Onto the fourth Doctor here. Yeah, so, man, I remember this creature here. It kind of looks like the human Dalek from the modern guy that did become a Dalek. Yeah, kind of looks like that, but this creature used to scare me back in the day. There's that. I think this might have been an episode I was thinking about earlier as well, and misspeaking about. This one has some nice artwork on the disc. This is a 2-disc set as well. So there's that. You know, on the Blu-rays, they do 2 editions. One that is like smaller, it has the same artwork on every disc, and a limited edition one that is bigger and has different artwork on all of the discs and probably a booklet in or something. But I remember some of the original runs of those had incorrect things on DVDs, like they'd redone the credits to make them look a bit sharper or something. They'd like misspelled names or something, so they had to reissue discs. This is voted Doctor Who magazine readers Doctor Who #1 story ever. That's actually, this is definitely a candidate for the #1 story ever. This is Genesis of the Daleks. This is Tom Baker episode. And this one has a lot of good effects on it. The story in this is so great as well. The Doctor is at a point where he's able to, if he would, he could destroy the Daleks before they become a thing. But the Doctor, having that power, knows that nobody should have that power, and who is he to destroy a race, regardless of what it does? And he has it in the palm of his hand, the opportunity to destroy the Daleks before they become a thing, and he can't do it. He just can't. He's good. He's lawful good. If we're talking D&D, he cannot do that. Yeah, Davros also appeared in this one for sure, Jonan. We learn a little bit more about the Daleks in their story in this one. Less of a mysterious force. But yeah, so the Doctor has the power in his hand to destroy a race from existence, and he doesn't do it. Because he can't do it, because he thinks nobody should be able to do it, and it's morally wrong. Even with all of the evil the Daleks do, he still couldn't do it. Later, he poses this question to Davros, and he says to Davros, if you had the power to end everything, you could push a button and destroy the world, would you do it? Davros says, of course I would. If I had the power, I would be among the gods. It would be my duty to do it. And he's affirmative on the yes side of it. Such a polar opposite to the Doctor's opinion, and such a good juxtaposition. Such good storytelling as well. And ironically, Davros makes these Daleks with no emotions because he feels that emotions make them weak, and they have no concept of good or mercy. But they turn on him, and Davros begs the Daleks for mercy, to which they reply, they have no concept of mercy, and destroy him. Of course, Davros reappears in many other episodes, but that's another nice position of that. There's that one. And there's the insides of that one. Alright. Here we have Pyramids of Mars, with Zutek the Destroyer, and some mummies here. There's the back of that one. I'm remembering something that Patrick Troughton's Doctor said to one of the enemies in Tomb of the Cybermen, actually, where he said that the Doctor said, well, maybe we should join this bad guy. Maybe we should all be united under this evil presence, and nobody should have any free will, and it should be just you and your power. To which this person is like, yes, of course, I didn't understand you as such a man of vision, Doctor. And the Doctor was like, yeah, now I know you're mad. I was just testing. The Doctor is such a greatly written character sometimes. Yeah, I do love scenes like that, Jonah, for sure. It's such well written at points. We'll actually see on the next episode. Sometimes the props can let it down a little bit, and that is the arc in space. I believe there's also a special edition of this, but there's a sequence where one of the people in distress is being transformed into a monster, and his hand has this substance on it, and it goes against his will, and actually he starts attacking himself. But in reality, he's just got a bunch of bubble wrap wrapped around his hand that's green, and it's like really silly to watch it now and to look at it that way. But sometimes the writing's good. Just sometimes the what they had available to them for the story didn't quite live up to the expectation. There's that one. I did like this one as well. There's these there's these alien like bug like insect like creatures that have found their way into this space colony, which has the a large amount of humans who have been preserved in some kind of stasis, and they're trying to transport you get the concept of the ark, where it is a flee from a destroyed world, and they've gone to this built this ark for safety to travel in, but yeah, doesn't always go to plan. Next up here we have the Brain of Morbius. Morbius was another Time Lord, and he became an almost Frankenstein's monster in this, trying to stay alive. Now, actually, with the latest Doctor, with Jodie Whittaker, as we moved on from Peter Capaldi to Jodie Whittaker, they've changed the backstory from the Doctor, that they have had more generations than we know. And as a matter of fact, when they did the War Doctor for that, we had an extra Doctor as well, which was, that was a fantastic actor as well that we had for the extra Doctor. But the idea that extra Doctors was kind of frowned upon by, let's say, the diehard fans. The Doctor and Morbius have a battle of the brains, kind of, in this, like a Vulcan mind meld battle, if you will. And whilst they're battling, you see representations of their previous regenerations beamed onto some sort of visualization. And in actual fact, and this has never been referenced, Tom Baker has lots more than he should regenerations shown on the screen. So, you've always thought of it starting as the first Doctor, William Hartnell, but in actual fact, way back in this point, it may not have been planned. It may just have been a problem. Like in one of the early episodes, one of the characters, one of the enemies referred to the Doctor as Doctor Who, as if that was their name. Whereas, that's the question, that's the enigma. But allegedly, the Doctor would have had more regenerations way back. The idea that they started when we saw them was not correct. But then later on, they introduced you have a certain amount of regenerations. But now, as we know, that may not be correct. Anyway, there's that. This also had the Keepers of the Sacred Flame for the first time, who could aid in regeneration. There were a bunch of ladies that could help out a regeneration in some way or form. They do that to the movie Doctor, actually, in a small little extra video clip for the movie Doctor. They did a little. I think it's such a crime that this wasn't added to the one with the War Doctor on. They did a little movie clip, and they had the movie Doctor regenerate into the War Doctor, and he got to choose with the Keepers of Sacred Flame what he would look like. Yeah, so John Hurt was the War Doctor, and he was fantastic. So I very much approve of them adding him in, for sure. But yeah, it's a crime that was. I think it was just an extra feature, if you will. We got the Hand of Fear here, another Tom Baker one. Tom Baker made an appearance actually in that special. I think it had David Tennant, Matt Smith, John Hurt, because John Hurt took the place of what would have been Christopher Eccleston in that episode. Um, and Tom Baker made a special appearance. I believe the other classic Doctor Who actors were not that happy about it because they thought it should have been everyone or nobody, but it was still very appropriate. Need to catch up with Jodie Whittaker stuff. Actually, myself as well, Jonan, I've fallen a little behind with all TV series. I really need to catch up on Star Trek as well because they're doing a Picard series now. I want to watch that. This episode is really cool as well because the enemy in this, this lady here, she is kind of a rock creature and she gains her form by touching the Doctor's companion. And so she becomes like a pseudo Sarah Jane, and she begs the Doctor to take her back to her planet to revive her so she can become whole again. But in actual fact, when she's revived, she's a maniacal king. Actually transforms into Brian Blessed. Brian Blessed, by the way, is great in everything he's in. Blackadder. He was in Blake 7 as a bad guy as well. He just turns into Brian Blessed. It's like, oh no, he's actually evil. Very, very cool transformation here. The disc was loose in this, but it still looks to be in good shape. There we go. Next up we have the Centauron Experiment. Another Centauron episode right here. From the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. And there's that as well. Centaurans have always been a favoured foe of mine. Got the Talons of Wen Chang here. This one had some worm-like monsters in it, if I remember correctly. That were dispelled by salt, I think, was their weakness. Kind of like Cybermen's gold. These things didn't like salt. Sarah Jane to Brian Blessed. Essentially, yeah. What a transformation. This is a 2-disc one, it looks like. 2 discs. We've got Earthshock here. This is the one where the young boy Adric, he did not make it in this one. However, we also got really emotional Cybermen. Cybermen are supposed to be humans devoid of emotion. And the Cyberman was acted in a weirdly emotional way in this. I don't know if that was the point. It might have been the point that they were supposed to be, you know, still slightly emotional. There's that. But the Cyberman was like, I can make you do whatever I want, Doctor. I need only threaten the girl, and you are forced to comply. I think they were trying to do a very... I think they were trying to do a very Darth Vader type thing with the Cybermen on this one. Got the Caves of Androzanzi, or however you say it, here. This is Peter Davison's last episode. I believe this one also had Syl in. Could be wrong. There's that. Oh, no, it's not, because Syl was in... No, I could be wrong. That Trial of the Time Lord, I think. And then that's also where you lost this companion from this episode as well. And we changed the next one. But yeah, this was Doctor's last episode. The Colin Baker, when he transformed, the next Doctor after this, Colin Baker, refused to shoot a regeneration sequence with Sylvester McCoy. Speaking of Colin Baker, we have the Mark of the Rani here. There are a couple of Rani episodes. Don't know what's happened canonically to the Rani, but they were kind of another Time Lord enemy of the Doctor. I mean, there was a BBC Children in Need special which had the Rani in it. That was made without anyone, of course, because it was for charity. Was made without payment to anybody, but because of how licensing for that sort of thing worked, they all had to agree that it would not get released on any home media, I believe, so there'll never be a home media version of that special. But I think the Rani gets pushed through a wormhole or something. So I guess that's where they went. I guess that special had a bunch of the Doctors in. I think all the way up from the third onwards to Sylvester McCoy. Got the two Doctors here. Colin Baker episode. Love this one. It was great to see Patrick Troughton in color as well. There's the back of that one. Very interesting serial. This one is also a two Doctors, two discs, 2 disc special. There you go. Almost at the end of the DVDs now. We have Survival. I really like this one because it just showed how good Sylvester McCoy was. He started to go a bit wild with this one. They go to a place where they start turning into like feral beasts, like cats. Not unlike what happened to Cheetah in the Wonder Woman 1984, if you will, physical wise. But yeah, the Doctor gets a bit nasty and almost destroys the Master in a duel, which is something very unlike the Doctor to do. But there's that. They were quite grimdark in this era. Looks like it's a 2 disc version as well. They were quite grimdark. They got to a bit like splatstick humor at one point as well. And here's the Paul McGann movie, made in 2000. Now, I didn't see this in cinema when it was out, because I don't remember if it came to cinema near me, but I remember that at a convention, I remember being quite excited for this. That's when I was supposed to see the third Doctor, but he wasn't able to be there. And yeah, Sylvester McCoy's in this for a little bit, but this is canonical. Happens around the Millennium 2000. Time Crash. Man, yeah, I don't know. There's so many episodes. Hey, nice one, Biker. Appreciate you dropping by, my friend. Yeah, just finished an episode where William Hartnell, Time Meddler. Oh man, there was another Time Lord who was he was a monk. The meddling monk might be what I'm thinking of, but that was Patrick Troughton. So many good episodes though. Yeah, this was very 2000. You know, it was very what it was. But it was kind of cool. It did not in itself lead to a Doctor Who revival, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean it was a 2000 era movie. I think I watched it on TV when it came to TV. Don't think I ever had this on video either. So it's actually my first. I think this is my first physical copy of this. All right, couple of special episodes here. These are modern Doctor Who. Only got 2 of them. Couple of specials. You've got first of all for the new Doctor Who, which awkwardly they name in series as rather than they obviously didn't want to start off with like series 1 billion, but I wish they'd said like Christopher Eccleston series 1 rather than saying it's series 1 because it's not series 1 of Doctor Who, is it? It's series 1 of the new Doctor Who. The monk. Yeah. That was a good one. So like the monk, I remember he stored his time machine in like a tiny, not a closet, but like a set of drawers or something. So it was like tiny, and his TARDIS had shrunk down, and like it was so impressive that they did this at the time because they must have used a projector or something. But you open like the drawer, and you saw this tiny Time Lord in there. It was great. This is the Cybermen collection. Like I said, I got all of these in one bunch, so this was just thrown in with it. This has Rise of the Cybermen, The Age of Steel, Army of Ghosts, and Doomsday. I think these are mostly Tennant and Billy Piper. So there you go. And yeah, even this is very dusty. And the disc... Oh, okay. The disc is loose, but there's one disc missing. But of all of the things for anything to be missing, this is the least bad. Because, I largely was interested in the videos. So there's that. I like the inlay. That's cool. But yeah, so this was the least of my concerns. Because all of this stuff was free. Alright. And then another modern one, we've got Doctor Who Series 1, Episode... See what I mean? It says Series 1, Episode 1 and 2. I think this might have come with like a magazine, because you often got these... I remember there was a Star Trek magazine that came with DVDs that were individual. The problem is, if you do it like that, you end up using up so much space. So with the new series, I do actually prefer having the big box sets, because they have everything in them. There's the back of that one. And yeah, so I actually, on the Star Trek ones, I really regret losing them. Actually, this one's a little damaged as well, I don't know if you can tell. Because the fact files you got with them had so much information, like plans of the ships and things like that, that I never saw anywhere else. I can't find that stuff online either, which is crazy. And this one has a reversible cover, actually. That's cool. So there's the disc. DVD files. Yeah, this is almost certainly from a magazine set, similar to the Star Trek set that I was thinking of. The cover here is reversible. That's cool. So you could have it blue instead of red. I think that's the only difference, that it's blue instead of red. Oh no, yeah, the Orton is on the front, and then Eccleston is down below, whereas Christopher Eccleston is here, and then the Orton is below. I think this looks better. All right, kind of cool. But I'll unlikely collect this DVD series as this DVD series, if you know what I mean. For like the newer stuff, I would just get the big release sets when they do them. Save space, especially when I have so many videos. And then a couple of DVD special editions here to finish this off. I actually already have this one, but this is the beginning. So this is the first couple of episodes. The pilot as it was unchanged. So the Unearthly Child, the Daleks, and the Edge of Destruction. Like I mentioned, there's another version of the Unearthly Child, if you want to check it out, that has the Doctor acting completely different. So instead of being nice and forgiving and enigmatic, he's really cruel and he's really mean and snarky. And that episode never made it to air. That version, I should say, never made it to air. But you can see a little bit of that personality in some of the other episodes. I believe at one point someone falls behind because they're injured, and the Doctor picks up a stone and he's about to like actually take them out until someone stops him because they're slowing him down. But yeah, for the most part, the Doctor's a very nice fellow. Although I think they have portrayed the first Doctor a little differently, looking back. So this has 3 episodes in it, as I mentioned. We've got the first episode, An Unearthly Child, which is the Doctor's granddaughter, who he left on Earth, but in a different timeline after the war with the Daleks. So I'm not really sure what happened to the Doctor's granddaughter. The disc is loose in this one, but it is in there. There's that. I wonder if this one does have the pilot. It does have the pilot on. That's pretty cool. But I think I already have this set. We've got the Daleks here as well. I actually quite like that cover. For one of the Photoshop era covers, rather than the illustrated, that one's actually quite nice. There's that. And there's that. With the disc and inlay. Insert, I should say. And then here's the Edge of Destruction. Like I mentioned earlier, the set for the TARDIS took most of their budget for the first series. Almost the entirety of the budget. So for the next 2 series, they were down on money. Alright, that's pretty cool. I think my other one is in better shape, but if there's anything that's an upgrade in there, I will use it. We also have here the 40th anniversary from 2003. We're almost at the 50th anniversary because we're at 2022 at the time of this recording. So this is from 2003, and we're 40 years into Doctor Who. This is a special edition, and this is 4,667 out of 5,000. This has the Dalek Invasion of Earth, the Resurrection of the Daleks, and Remembrance of the Daleks. So that's pretty cool. It shows the full DVD covers on the back here, but I don't think they are contained like that. I think they're a little different. Oh man, this looks really nice though. So there's the front of that. And then on the back. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Got left in 2160 biker. Yeah, so I remember she got left And like, because it's like that's kind of an alternate timeline as well. So it's like, well, look at all these discs. It's kind of an alternate timeline. So like, it's weird because like in the modern series, the Doctor likes to say timey wimey, but like I don't know if he can go back to that time because things have changed since then. So it's kind of like, and she's also a Time Lord, so she would in theory regenerate. So she should still be around. Anyway, but I think it would been alluded to that she was on maybe the Time Lord Council, or maybe that was actually I feel like that was supposed to be Romana. I think they covered that in a Big Finish episode. That the on one of the modern episodes they had the Time Lord Council appear with by the way James Bond playing a Time Lord playing Rassilon. Yeah, that was great. Um, uh, we had one of the council who was like against arrest. I think that was supposed to either be Romana or the Doctor's granddaughter. I'm not really sure. The last one I'm going to finish on anyway. What I am sure about is this is the Curse of Fenric. This is Sylvester Mccoy, and it's 2-disc set, and it is signed. Check this out. Bunch of signatures there. I used to have a notebook with lots of Doctor Who signatures. I used to go from conventions trying to get signatures. I lost it, unfortunately. So this is very cool. I'm not sure if they've signed the case or if they've signed the inlay itself. But there's that. So the Curse of Fenric we signed. There's no signature on the back here as well. But there's that. In fairness, that signature would have fit on the front. But there you go. Very cool. And this is a 2-disc set. Curse of Fenric. There you go. Alright, there you go, guys. That was like 70 or so or plus Doctor Who videos, DVDs. They're all going to need a little bit of a cleanup. It is really cool, biker, for sure, yeah. I'm glad to get these because they were pretty much going away, and if they go to me, then the ones that I don't have, for sure, and the ones that condition upgrades are going to be, in a good home. I have been a Doctor Who fan since way, way back. Used to watch the videotapes one at a time when I could pick them up from Woolworths when that was a thing, so I'm very happy about that. And yeah, expanded the Doctor Who collection. I think in terms of videotapes, VHS, I would have almost all of them that were out there, except for special editions and that sort of thing. So I'm pretty close to that. I've been considering the DVD sets, and now I've got a big jump start on the DVD sets. I've been considering doing that as well, especially as they would be an easier way to watch them. Because I have a couple of video players, but I don't have like the video player I want, if you know what I mean. I've always coveted like one of those really nice like combo VHS DVD players, but then I've always just thought, you know what, I've got like a Philips video player and that works fine, and then I can play DVDs on like, the PS2, PS3 or what have you, or PS4, and that's always been a thing. Woolies was an old store. Yeah, Bike. I used to get all of my videos from there. I always used to think, man, why did this place go out of business? But the sheer variety of nonsense they sold in there. They sold videotapes. They sold games. They had bucket and spades. They had pick and mix by the door that people used to just come in and steal. It was kind of ridiculous, the variety they had in there. But I suppose that's kind of what a lot of shops do. But we're getting some revivals back recently. I think Toys R Us is coming back in some regard, so I'll hold out hope. But essentially, they are an Argos, where Argos is one of those shops that's like, you know what a shop is? Yeah, we don't like that. we're gonna give you a book. Your shop is in this book. I think Argos just does what Woolworths does, but without having to have as big a space. Sweet buttons. Oh, buttons. I have recently bought some chocolate buttons, so I'm going to be chowing on them in a little bit. But anyway, guys, thanks for checking this out. I've actually got to decide what I'm going to watch a bit later. I might well check out one of these Doctor Who's on DVD. You got your SNES copy of Donkey Kong Country Free from Woolworths during the N64 era. Nice, Jonan. You know what? The last gaming memory I have from Woolworths is trying to buy Time Crisis 2 from 2 different Dwarf shops, and they had it out on display, but they didn't have it in the back. And so I just got me really mad. That's my last memory of Dwarfs before it ceased to be a thing. Just trying to get Time Crisis 2. I must play Time Crisis 2, and they didn't have it in either location. Ironically, the game I'm after right now is probably going to be Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which was just released. I'm probably going to get that from Argos, because I think it's like £10 cheaper than anywhere else. Anyway, guys, as a reminder, if you're new to the channel, I do all kinds of things on the channel. You can go out and check my video game pickups, which are not live streams. They are fully edited video game pickup videos with gameplay footage included for every video. I've got one of those coming very soon for next month. On the 1st of April, I have a massive and crazy unboxing coming up. And if you know the history of this channel from April 1st, there may be a little bit of hilarity ensued in that video, but regardless, there will be an April 1st video of a massive Holy Grail unboxing. Could be anything. It could be something Doctor Who related. Who knows? It's a massive, massive box, and I'll be unboxing it on a video on April 1st. Also have that next video game pickups video coming up. I do also want to say, guys, that the video game pickup videos may be a little bit more sparse. I alluded to this, I think, previously, but I haven't been picking up as many video games lately because I've got a lot of video games and things like your PlayStation 2 and your Xbox 360. I pretty much got to the point of where I have, you know, most of the common games out there. So when I'm going out and looking for games, I'm actually not seeing that much that I don't already have or that's within my range to procure. So there may be a little bit of a gap on the video game pickups. It will be the first time in a long time, actually, but it's going to leave me space to do more videos. I'm planning on doing a lot of different videos about, you know, video cables, getting the best picture quality from your systems and things like that. So it's going to open up the plan to do other stuff. Plus, if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, I am working on a lot of Dungeons and Dragons content. And I will throw that link in the chat right now. Jonah Monkey actually does DMing for much of the D&D content. So at this point in time in the live chat that exists in YouTube and Twitch, you should see the link for the D&D channel. It's a brand new channel. I'm focusing a lot on that at the moment because the video editor I have takes a long time to do basically anything, and I'm used to using it. Outside of perhaps getting a Mac computer, which I'm not very experienced in, I need to... Hey, Mystic, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Outside of changing computer, I've tried a lot of different video editing programs, and nothing I've found as easy to use as the one I'm using, even though the program I am using does have a lot of problems in of itself. So yes, that's what is happening in the future. There will be some other unboxing live streams coming as well. I have the takeover coming, hopefully. I'm not exactly sure. My shipment of that game from Limited Run Games was apparently lost in post, so I'm waiting to see if they're able to ship that out to me again. So that's coming, and other than that, guys, yep, lots of content coming all the time. You can go back and check out the video game pickups that are on the channel. Currently, you're doing peachy, Mystic. That's great to hear, my friend. I'm glad you're doing well, and I appreciate you guys checking out the stream as well. Don't forget to leave a like and all of that good stuff, and then you can also hit the bell and it might notify you. It probably won't. You can also find me on social media. There's a link to my Twitter on the front page of my channel. I am more active on Twitter than I am on like anything else. I do technically have a Discord and a Facebook, but I pretty much exclusively use them for D&D, so I don't really use them for much else. So as we finish off, guys, I just want to thank Be Right. Thank you, Brian, for that raid. Appreciate it, my friend, for the raid over on Twitch. Thank you guys for checking out the stream. And you can check out a bunch of other content on the channel if you like to. If you're ever on Twitch, don't forget to follow. If you're ever on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. You can also support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership if you would like. There are certain exclusivities for that if you would like to. You also get to use emotes of my face as well if you want to use my face however you want. It sounds dirtier than it actually is. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. I have been MVL, and I will catch you next time.